out of there. And it's working. Hi, everybody. If you're tuning in, this is Darlene from Darlene Codes. I'm running a little behind. Had to get coffee. Yeah. Yes, I'm guilty of getting coffee before I was supposed to be here. Anyhow, so today I figure I will come in front of the camera because I like being behind the camera and talk about making video games. And also, more specifically, quest systems, because that's what I'm working on. When I started making video games, I thought of, rewards and punishment. But when you look at it, okay, so implementing, you have your quests, objects, and that will include when it's triggered, when it's completed, and what the player will get. So to build a system that, hi, hi, sorry, I'm not wearing your wares today. Um, anyhow, um, so in this system, you will have um, objects that the player will have to get, or maybe walk somebody somewhere, escort somebody somewhere, kill or take out a number of people or creatures or whatever. But what I'm interested in here is, what I'm most interested in here is talking about how you can use quest systems to uh, grow a story. So let's say you went to, let's just say you picked up an object, and you need that object. It needs to be useful for something. You don't just say, we're going to pick up this many, pick up this many. It becomes boring. So in a more meaningful quest system, you need to have, the objects need to mean something to the story. So the first time I did this, I looked at every level. We need to get this much stuff. Let's, have the player do these things. But this time, I'm looking at it as the whole story and how it affects the whole story. So think of a spreadsheet, and you have the main plot, and everything that happens need to affect that main plot. And each level. So you have a spreadsheet, and just imagine you have your main plot, and then each level you can have a column. So say level 1 and 2 or 3 is about learning the world, learning how to move in the world, how to defend yourself, how to communicate in the world. So those quests has to somehow affect the story too. But then later on in the story, where you know what you're supposed to do, those quests need to be more meaningful. And at this very moment, well, just before here, the one thing I was thinking about, what about quests that affect more than one level? You know, uh, it depends on the game. So the one thing I'm learning about quest systems is that it's very specific to the video game. Oops, sorry. Uh, let's just say you have a 2D platformer, which is what I've been working on, or an RPG. Okay, so in a 2D platformer, you need to be able to jump. Okay, and here the quest system talks about rewards and punishment. And I'm going to talk about punishment in a way. I know video games, we're supposed to play, there shouldn't be punishment. But if you frame it in a different way, it doesn't become punishment. My first time out, I did, I thought, let me do level design where I can trap the player, I can torture the player. And my children who I work with, they don't quite like me doing level design. But these days, I've been thinking more of, okay, first couple of levels, let's make it about learning the world, okay? And then when you're supposed to know how to jump, if you miss and there's spikes, it's not really punishment. It's kind of, it's like getting a speeding ticket. If you drive fast, you can get a speeding ticket. So that was the analogy, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure everybody agrees with me. Um, so let's see. Let's see. Things you can. So quest systems talks about things that can help you get ahead in the game. You get more points. You could get maybe additional time in game, play time, lives, whatever. It just depends on the game. But more at a more abstract level is what I'm interested in. I like to think about the big picture and then dive in. And in this case, when you're dealing with quest systems, I'm thinking of how these could be used to further the story. And the first time out making a video game, I didn't think of it that way. I think of it more of something that pins into the story, but not. Now I'm thinking of it more of something that can help carry the story. Uh, yeah, video games, they're multiple pieces, millions of pieces. And here's the thing I like about video games or stories in our world here is that everything has to have a purpose. If it doesn't, it goes. And in that way, that key that you got to exit a level, it teaches you, okay, keys can be used to exit levels, keys could be used to open boxes. So in your mind, you get to like level 20 and you see a key, you're like, wait, there's going to be something to open it later on. Um, so those are the things I'm thinking should be designed into how the game works, so that quest systems become that thing you just hit. Okay, so when you turn the light on, you don't think about the electric grid or any of that. You know that you know a light's going to go on. So my thinking is when you hit the queue to look at your quest to see what's done and what needs to be done, you don't really think too much. You just play and it kind of happens. And that's basically where I am looking at quest systems, not as reward and punishment like I did when I started. So it's it's just kind of a reframing. Uh, I when I first started designing, I would look at, well, we need to put more spikes here, more this here, but does it really help the story or kill the story? And that's something I now look at. Before it was just, let's just do this, 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 this. And these days I think about it. If we put that there, will it help the story? And will it encourage the player? Will it discourage the player? These are the things I play with as a game designer these days. Let's see. The other thing that before I started this live, other than being late and going to get coffee, I I was thinking of, okay, so each level has all these quests. What if there is, a quest that goes between multiple levels, and how would be an easy way to help the player and not just be a record keeping thing? Uh, so that's another variable, another edge case of how a quest system could work. Uh, that's one of the things I was thinking about. So, um, anyone have any thoughts on quest systems or video games? Making video games, not the playing of, the making of. I would be, I can answer questions, so just ping me, that's okay. So let me continue then. Okay. So one of the things is you have your story, your main plot. You need to get from beginning to end. And each level has the specific quest that you have. And what is the point of the quest system again? It depends. Okay. So the quest system in the platformer that okay, so my first game was a 2D platformer, and we didn't think of a lot of things as a whole, from this big level look. And with the quest system, it was to give as much resources because I was aiming at younger kids, and I hated that look of not having on their faces, so I got soft. This time around, the quest system is to help further the story. So go see the hermit. Uh, Talk to him. He's not going to talk to you, but the act of going to him, shows you have to go up a number of platformers to get to him. So it's also communicating with the NPCs in the world, uh, being, having a connection with the dialogue system, how it works. And after you see him, a box will appear. So there's your reward. So there's that. Then the other thing I did so far, this is what I've done so far, is you go through an invisible barrier, and the dialog box pops up and it tells you it's a trigger for another quest, which tells you to go to another part of the world to pick something up. So that's at the base level. Okay. So what I'm thinking is, instead of having this long conversation with NPCs, have these little bite-sized things that you have to do, and it builds how to navigate in that world. One example which I used yesterday on my trial live was coffee. Here in New England, there's Dunkin' Donuts everywhere, and I mean everywhere. So if you were in a different part of the world where coffee shops like Dunkin' Donuts don't exist, you need to now figure out how to navigate that world and get your coffee. So to answer your question, what's the point of the quest system in your game? To find your family and, let's see, rescue your family. That's the point of the game. And the quest system is a way to dole out rewards, give the player things to do that have meaning. I hope I kind of answered that correctly. So, did I? Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so I don't know. From a developer or player perspective, what are your thoughts on on quest systems. If you'd like to share. Did it work? No? Okay. Whoops. I think I missed. What? Yeah. Who are sign? The game is. The game is. And one of the things we have skunks in the world, and one of the thoughts we talked about at dinner last night was having uh, an array of responses that the skunks will give the player. So in the world, before it was you see a skunk, you throw coconuts at them, you go straight to fight. And one of the things I've been playing with is going over to the stationary skunks and saying, have you seen my family? And they will give you a random response. And and my kids are like, yeah. They weren't impressed. But I thought instead of going straight to throwing a coconut at them or getting hit by them, why not talk to them first? Because later in the game, here's another cross level quest that I was thinking. Punishments could be doled out based on how you behaved earlier in the game. Say if you went straight to fight instead of talking, it would be more hostile. Or if you talked, so you really can't see, but I have this huge map here. And say when you get into your first big battle, there isn't a way to go back to the previous level because it's a one-way travel. I was thinking, what if instead of having them um, come back in the same level, depending on how they played the earlier part of the game, have them go back, say, 1, 2, maybe 3 levels. Now, there is a level where you can get back to the previous level. You know, it's still wound up on here in string and on the board. But the idea is if you were mean, your punishment would be more mean. If you were more thoughtful in what you did, then yeah. So not all skunks are friendly. Well, the story is that everybody got turned into skunks, and when you think you're killing them, you're not really killing them, you're just sending them somewhere, and they come back later. It's a children's game. Um, but some of them sit there and look at you, some of them will punch you, and some of them will walk straight through you. So I figured why not, if they're sitting still, have them talk. So I thought gibberish, but then again, that's been done with The Sims, so that's not. I yeah, I figured a pull from a random pull using a random number and pull from an array of possible statements would be the way to do it. It's a simple to the game, so I'm not going to play with AIs or any of that with this. Later ones, but not this one. This is it's been done. Now it's time to finish playing with it and move on, kind of thing. So anyhow, so that's yeah. I'm probably focusing in way too much on the quest system, but it feels like it's that one of those pieces that's it's the spine of the story. Visual languages. No, what do you mean? Um, I'm not sure what you mean. Mm, although Google is always there. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I think what first the mm, yeah, yeah. We've um we've used little we've been using a lot of visuals, but then I thought we needed okay, recently when I redid the demo, it was all visuals. But then I said we need bad skunks can yeah, yeah, yeah. And here's the underlying thing. Who the player thinks is the bad guy is actually his sister dressed up in a skunk outfit. So, there's all these twists and turns and yeah. So, yeah. That we've also played with difference in their costumes. So it's to I guess friendlies could have a different color or something. Yeah. Yeah. But so so that's what the quest system will do. I'm sure there'll be other things that I'll come up with, but I'm trying to I think this and the story goes together most of all. But I don't know. What do you guys think? From a developing standpoint, it, it seems to be, the pieces. Okay. So the idea today was well, here's the thing. I need to be, I need to talk more about what I'm doing, and I figured every afternoon I'll speak a little bit about something I'm working on. And yeah, you do? All right, shoot. Um, oh, I have a funny. In the game, we used to say shoot, but then we change it to throw because it's a kids' game. Can't really shoot. So, what's your first one? Also, if you hear snoring, I have a Great Pyrenees in here that's making extra noise. So, target audience. Okay, with this particular game, it's 13 and under. Yeah. For this one that I'm thinking about. And here's the thing about quest systems I'm beginning to see. Okay, you have your objects, your holder, and the mechanics can go game to game, but then when you start thinking about the quest and how it affects the story, that's the part that I'm muddling in at this point, and that's game specific. So in this game, this will work. And then with our next game, the whole system can be just picked up and used again. Oh, we're a small team, okay? Got to reuse as much code as we can. My goal is someday, how Stanley shows up and used to show up in all his movies. That's like my goal to like, have something from our original game pop up in everything that we do. So anyhow. Okay, so I had a list of things, and let's see. Move the story, punishments. Yeah. And yeah. So that was all I had. And you said you had question or questions. Did you have any more? Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm a team of one. Ask because I wonder. Yes, yes. When Here's the thing with this game, the children that were working on it was 7 to 16 at the time, so it had to cater to the youngest. Reading, as in the dialogue spoken. Um, Here's the thing. I try to keep dialogue like really short. Okay. To the point of being not mean, but short. The shortest way you can say it, the least amount of reading. Like with the hermit, I have go away, and he grunts. So there's no how do you say, no confusion. You know, short and sweet. We're dealing with this game, it's young children, it's younger children, not young, 13-year-olds and younger. So they're not going to want to read a novel. But with our next game, Story About Penny, that one, I'm I'm beginning to think that it'll be spoken versus um, written dialogue. But we'll see. It depends on the budget. Yeah. So did I the art of I'm gonna mess that up. I think since you're making a game for children, you should use more visuals. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We um we spent a lot of time on the visual, the art, making sure everything has a certain feel to it and it tells you what's going on. But Ken Sugar, sorry. I was trying to read the handle, but anyhow. Um, so first thing we did was the artwork, the world. How does it feel? What feelings does it trigger? Colors and all of that. The first time around, we didn't do that. This time we are. Uh, but the reading portion, it's part of telling the story to give it a little extra. You know, uh, let's see. You could potentially get through the game without doing the quests. That's the other thing I was playing with. How could you potentially go through the game without doing the quests and having a good experience as well? So, yeah, yeah. So, Ken, do you have any more questions, or did I answer them all? Oh boy. Okay. All right. So I covered everything I was thinking about. I just wanted to talk about the making of video games and quest systems. And I think after today, I'm done with quest systems. I've been playing with this for far too long, and now I have it all worked out mentally, and system is already built and in place and being tested. So now is there's so much. Yeah, yeah. You can always hop on and we can do a video. Okay, we can do a. Oh boy, the word's not working today. Okay, my coffee levels are low. I haven't gotten my Dunkin' Donuts today, so I'm not operating as active as I usually am. Anyhow, but thank you for coming. Okay, this is my first official live, and there'll be more. hopefully every day at 2. That way it gives me that break. Yeah. So thanks for coming, guys. All right. Bye. Oh.